Has someone ordered a cab for Grant Mansion?
Yeah, that's me.
Excellent. Hop in. Let's go.
All right.
Hello, Loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, a Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 43, and tonight we return to Friends of Into the Night, and we have a special guest with us, going through his Desert Island Desert Island comics, or as I like to call it, the ISLA comics. So strap in, sit back, relax, and get your Khonshu on. Okay, Loony listeners, hi, welcome back. This is episode 43, and unfortunately, just spoken to him recently, but Connor-Shu won't be with us tonight at the Grant Mansion, but we did get Jake Lockley to pick up a special guest of ours. You may have heard him at the beginning of the show, and just like to welcome our good Loony friend, Rick. How are you going, Rick?
Oh, I'm fantastic, man. How are you?
Yeah, good. It was great to catch you, and thank you so much for coming onto the show tonight. Very exciting. What we have is we put a question out to Rick, and we basically asked you your favourite comics, I guess, of all time. Is that right?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
So we have 4. Similar to what we did last time with the Immortal Iron Fist host Connor, we've got 4 of Rick's favourite comics that we'll look at first. We'll look at, but first, sorry. I just wanted to welcome Rick to the show, and this is a good opportunity, I think, for Loonies to get to know a few of the other Loonies out there as well. Rick, can you tell us a bit about yourself, like where you're from, and how you got into comics?
Oh, for sure. Well, I am from Sydney, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And all I do is work, play with cats, collect comic books, look for action figures, and that's it. That's my life in general.
You have got a massive action figure collection. I think you've posted it up at the ITK Facebook group. Most of them are Funko Pops. Is that right?
Some of them are Funko Pops. Currently, I want to try and have a bunch of Marvel Legends figures.
Ah, yes, of course. Yes.
Because I really love their designs and everything.
They are really good. Connor and I, we looked at, obviously, the Moon Knight Legends figure late last year, I think, which is a fantastic looking figure. Out of your collection, what would you say your favourites would be out of the Hasbro Legends ones?
Ooh. Okay. See, I would usually say Moon Knight.
Uh-huh.
Honestly, I like the Darkhawk figure a lot.
Oh, Darkhawk, yeah. Oh, I know that you are a big Darkhawk fan as well, Rick.
Yes, I'm biased.
I think there's an Infinity Countdown Darkhawk coming out, isn't there?
No, this week.
This week, yeah. Ah, excellent.
Yeah.
And is it? Do you know much about, like, is he going to get a series, or is it just a one shot so far?
It depends how the miniseries goes, because no one expected the one shot to spawn into a miniseries.
Right. Okay.
But due to all the positive reviews and stuff, and positive word of mouth, people just loved it.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed that Darkhawk one shot. That was really good. That Legacy one. I'm kind of hoping the same thing for Shang-Chi as well. Did you get that one? Yeah, I thought that was quite funny. That was by what's his name? He's a UFC fighter.
Maybe. Let's just call him that guy.
That guy, yeah. He, I think his surname's Punk. What is he? It's
Oh, CM Punk.
Yeah, CM Punk. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, I thought it was really funny. I remember on the Serious Issues podcast. It's this for Loonies out there. This is another podcast covers all things comics. They weren't too impressed with it. They thought it was a bit lackluster, but I thought it was quite good actually. I thought it was humorous. Maybe it just appealed to my like schoolboy humor, but
Yeah.
But the Darkhawk was really good, I thought.
It was like the standout.
Yeah. And actually, Rick, that will kind of segue me into just asking you. I know you're also a big fan. Would it be fair to say that you're a big fan of the 90s comics?
Of Darkhawk? Of course, man.
Or of...
Always loved the character.
Yeah, or comics in general. I'm Wink Wink, Youngblood... Wink, wink.
The renaissance of the 90s, man. Yes.
So
I don't care what people say. Nothing will ever stop me from my Rob Liefeld love.
That's fantastic. And look, all fans are different and all fans love different things. They take away different things from comics, and that's the beauty of comics in general. But if you were to, I guess... explain to some fans out there. So what is it about the 90s that really, or the 90s comics and Liefeld that really kind of gets to you?
There's two reasons. One's the funny reason, one's the weirdly serious reason. The obvious funny reason is the bad art.
Well, some art's good.
Some art's good. Then you get the art where it's like, he has... One hand has 5 fingers, the other has 3 fingers. Weird.
Wow.
Feet are always covered in grass, fire, smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Like they have retarded faces.
Yeah.
It's always like that.
You're talking about Liefeld specifically, yeah?
No.
No?
Yes.
Okay, you are. Well, no, the only thing that gave it away was the no showing of the feet. But I thought his art was generally... I remember when I was young as well, growing up with some mates from high school, and you had the big... I guess, to me, there was a big two. It was Jim Lee and Rob Liefeld. And then you had Eric Larson, obviously, on Savage Dragon. Then you had a slew of other... I did love my Jim Valentino, and you and I have discussed Wetworks, obviously, with...
Wetworks, man.
Yeah, which was Spataccio, right?
Yes, Wallace. Oh, is it Wallace?
No, Wills. Whilce, yeah. I think Wills or Waltz. I don't know. I'm assuming it's Wills, but yeah. And obviously Mark Silvestri with Cyberforce was a big one as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apart from Rob Liefeld, then again, more generally in the 90s, what is it about the 90s vibe that kind of gets you?
I don't know, man. Maybe because it's the art style I grew up on the most. Not the Rob Liefeld art, like talking about like Jim Valentino, Mark Silvestri, Jim Lee, the biggest one. I think.
Yeah,
Todd McFarlane.
Oh, Tom McFarlane, of course. Yes. Yeah, they were big. They were the big hitters, and back in the day, the artists kind of ruled, didn't they, over the writers? Yeah.
Oh yeah. And another thing I love about the 90s, which people won't say much, I think it's to me. I think people had the most creative freedom at the time, because let's think about it. Without the 90s, we wouldn't have Marvel. We wouldn't have the Vertigo line, wouldn't have Sandman. Yeah. All these big stuff that happened during the 90s.
Sin City was a big one. Frank Miller.
Oh yeah, Sin City. Yeah. Sin City.
RoboCop
versus the Terminator by Frank Miller.
Okay, throw that one in there.
I think you'd be surprised. It's actually quite decent.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, if you have never seen Terminator 2 or any other Terminator sequels, it's actually a surprisingly good read.
Okay, right. I remember that a lot of those crossovers I used to get because I was, you and I have talked about being Valiant fans as well, and Magnus versus Predator was one of the ones I used to get. That was a good one, I thought.
I love that one.
Yeah, I think Dark Horse, from memory, were quite big-ish in the 90s, would you say, as well?
Oh, they were.
Yeah, I remember there were a lot of Predator titles out there and Aliens. I mean, today now they're still releasing a lot of Aliens titles,
but not that much.
No. They've been pretty small, like short. Yeah, the longest one I've collected was the Brian Wood one that was I think early last year or mid last year. But
I wanted to read that one.
Oh, it's okay. It's good. It kind of plateaus towards the end. It was really good build up, and the ending's kind of like, okay. I reckon it probably could have been like a 10-issue arc rather than maybe like a 12 one. Probably if they cut it down a bit. But no, it was pretty good.
I think the best like Dark Horse crossover they ever did, I think to me, is the Aliens versus Wildcats.
Oh,
because what's great about it, apart from it being written by our Lord and Savior Warren Ellis, God bless him.
Yes.
The best thing about it, it's canon.
Right.
And
okay.
what happens, because it leads into like the authority and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like the team before Brian Hitch moved into Marvel with the Ultimates.
Okay, right.
So pretty much it was in canon, that storyline. They killed off the original Stormwatch team, which some of the members end up going into authority.
Right. This is sorry. I'm not too familiar as well. Authority. We're talking about
Wildstorm.
Wildstorm. Okay. Right. That is an offshoot of DC.
It was originally an offshoot of Image.
Oh, okay. Right. Oh, because they had Grifter in there and everything.
Had Grifter.
Yeah.
Midnighter, Apollo.
Yeah. Okay.
Essentially,
right.
before Jim Lee sold all that Wildstorm line to DC.
Right. What was that? Sorry.
Oh, okay. Pretty much I said, before Jim Lee sold all that, it was originally at Image, but when he sold all that, including Wetworks, to DC.
Oh, so Wetworks went across as well.
Yeah.
Loonies. I am learning a lot already from our guest. I should mention also, we called you the Rickball Special, which that's courtesy of Connor-Shu. So we have the Rickball Special with us coming up. I've got to find a sound effect for that, but I don't know what.
Oh,
so take us back then, Rick, to like how did you first crack into comics, and what was your? Can you remember the first comic that you picked up, whether it was a newsstand or you know?
Oh, I can remember it, man.
Yeah.
Back in the glory days of the 90s. Oh, beautiful time.
Yeah.
Street Sharks were rampant. Power Rangers were everywhere. The X-Men were like big. It was a great time. I was around like 5 or 6 where I first got my comic book. Because my dad used to work a lot. He'd come home, he'd bring stuff back to me. Then one day he came home with a few comic books. I remember them. One's Cloak and Dagger. It had Spider-Man on the cover. I think it was an Act of Vengeance tie-in.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like Cloak and Dagger, Spider-Man, and Ghost Rider versus Mephisto.
Right.
That one, a Marvel Comics Presents.
Oh,
Ghost
they were
Rider
great. Yeah.
Yeah, so I love them.
That nice anthologies, yeah.
Yeah. And the third one was, I think it was Amazing Spider-Man. It was part of Round Robin, was it?
Okay. Really? That was the Mark Bagley run. Yeah. Oh, what a great... Sorry?
Oh, no, you go on. That was rude.
No, that was all right. No, you'll find out a lot. We do that a lot on the podcast as well. It just comes with the territory with just podcasting over. But no, I was about to say that's a great run. It's a great run to get into, sink your teeth in, because Mark Bagley was a big. I thought he was a big hitter back in the 90s as well. And it's amazing that he's still going today.
I know.
Yeah.
Surprising. But yeah, I was reading all that, then out of nowhere, he stuck out. That great visual, man. Because, man, let me tell you, Night Thrasher was an amazing design.
Night Thrasher, yeah.
Freaking Night. But seriously?
Yep.
But seriously, when I first saw Moon Knight was in that book.
So that was...
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I'm really bad at this.
No.
But yeah, that's when I first saw him, because design-wise, it was popping off the book.
Yeah. It looked pretty slick, I must say. I mean, compared to... Well, Mark Bagley, for me, he draws the hell out of any character really well. He did a really cool Moon Knight. Very, I mean, I don't know. If you like Mark Bagley's style, it will definitely be your bag. But was that how you first... Obviously, I guess that's how you first got introduced into Moon Knight. And was that the moment that you thought, okay, I'm gonna maybe follow this guy for a bit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. And then what what was the first like solo title, like Moon Knight title that you got then?
Mark Spector Moon Knight, unfortunately.
Yeah, that would be obvious anyway. I guess I mean, that was in the 90s, and it was a long run. It was like quite a 60-issue run, which you don't get these days. And even Volume 1 in the 80s lasted only
38.
38, yeah. So, I mean, that's still pretty long, again, by today's standards. But Mark Spector's got the longest running run there. Yeah, I mean, I collected Mark Spector as well. I thought it was pretty good. I jumped in around just a bit after the Acts of Vengeance for Mark Spector. Obviously, like when you're a school kid and stuff, you only have so much disposable income. So, and I was just like spending big on comics, like as many titles as I could. But Mark Spector I thought was really good. It got a bit weird towards the end there, Rick. And if I can just if I can just lay a little disclaimer, because Connor and we did do an Infinity War special episode a while ago, and we did kind of lay into a bit of the Infinity Crusade issues in Mark Spector Moon Knight. And totally opinions are all well respected. You're a big fan of Stephen Platt as well?
Yes, I am actually. I think he's a really good artist.
Yeah.
And sorry, Connor, I love you, but you're wrong.
Well, I thought he was. I thought he was hit and miss myself as well. He does definitely come from that '90s mold. If you ask me to pick Platt or say McFarlane, I would pick McFarlane.
Of course.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. Again, it's similar to you. There's an allegiance that happens when you grow up, like who you do have fond memories with, and McFarlane was he had one of the first comics that I collected. It was an Amazing Spider-Man. Had on the front cover, this will test you, Rick. It had Spider-Man, and it had Rhino and Scorpio looking at each other, and it had a guy at the back. I think his name, I can't remember what his name was. He was in purple. He had green flowing hair.
I know who it is.
Yeah,
I think I know who it is.
And it was just Spider-Man in between the Rhino and Scorpion. And I remember reading that issue, and I remember being blown away by Todd McFarlane's art. Like, if you look at his art compared to, there are a lot of great artists out there during Marvel, but say the medium range artist, Todd McFarlane was like head above shoulders, I thought. And,
he was top tier.
Yeah, and so I mean, and obviously you saw that with him commanding or the books that he could draw on and taking that new Spider-Man title, which was the adjectiveless Spider-Man title. That was in the 90s as well. That was quite a dark turn. I don't know if you remember that one as well, Rick, but the first arc had him up against the Lizard, and it was very dark. It was kind of, I think, a precursor to a lot of his Spawn stuff. He was really trying to give a grim and dark tone to Spider-Man, which he later was able to do with Spawn. But I reckon that had a lot to do with perhaps Tim Burton's Dark Knight. Batman movies.
Yes.
Yeah. So there was a heavy influence over there. But okay. So all right. So we got a young Rick coming up. And I do know that you branch out also as well. We spoke of, obviously, your collection of figures. But how about, was it manga? Can I say that? Or monsters?
It's
Manga.
Godzilla.
Yeah. Is that, look, I'm totally ignorant. That's another set, isn't it? It's away from manga. That's something totally different, right?
Yes, it's totally different.
Okay. So you're a big fan of like Monster, like Godzilla, King Kong? Do you like King Kong?
Oh, I love King Kong, man. I love all kaiju. That's the genre, kaiju genre.
Okay, kaiju. Okay, right. And obviously Pacific Rim, that kind of covers all that sort of stuff. Are you into the tech side of it? Like the, I guess it would be the, what do they call them?
Mecha.
The mecha, yeah. Are you into that?
Oh, yeah, I love that stuff, man. Like,
Right.
I could watch like a serious show. I'll fall in love with it.
Yeah.
But no matter what, I'll just put on a single episode of like Gundam Wing, just seeing like all these giant robots beating the shit out of each other. Sorry for swearing.
No worries.
It just makes me happy.
Yeah, cool. We don't bleep anything out here. Don't worry. It's if you're following Moon Knight, I'm sure you can handle a bit of harsh language. Yeah, cool. That's great. I think Connor is into that as well. I think.
Yes, he has a good taste as well.
Okay, fantastic. And what would you say? Well, okay, Pacific Rim's more mainstream, right? But you rated 2012's Godzilla as pretty good?
I'd say it's 2014, actually.
2014, okay. I was just trying to pluck things out of the night sky here, Rick.
It's all good, man. I ain't bashing you.
That's all right. Yeah, cool. Yeah, fantastic. So you like the kaiju stuff. Are you into horror? I thought you were into horror. Yeah?
Oh, I love horror.
There we go. I've hit another one, another home run, another Rickball Special. Cool. And so what are your favourite? Is that how you like Moon Knight then? Was it that supernatural element with the werewolf?
Oh yes, that as well. But I love anything horror related. To be honest, I have a ton of like horror figures, horror masks everywhere.
Oh right, okay. Cool.
And you should see my horror movie collection, man. One day I'll show you the collection.
Well, I was about to say, like, do you collect like movies and stuff the same way you collect comics? Do you collect all the yeah, okay. And so, how much are we talking about here? Do you know? Have you done an audit?
Last time I counted, it was like 250 horror movies.
Woo! Really? Horror movies alone, let alone the kaiju ones. Oh, nice one.
Yeah, man. I have a big DVD collection.
I was about to say you must have a big man cave as well. Like you are. Sorry. Oops. No. Let's dispel that illusion. You are currently with me now at Grant Mansion. Of course, you're at Grant Mansion. You're not in your man cave at all.
No.
But if you were, your man cave would be quite big, wouldn't it? I'd imagine.
It's actually surprisingly small, but then again, I've been like putting stuff together from Fantastic Furniture and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's not that much room at the moment for now.
Oh, okay. Only temporarily, but you have everything on display, right? Or some stuff would have to be stored away.
Actually, most of it's all displayed. I just need a few more movie posters, and yeah, that's about it.
Fantastic. Well, I hope that there are a lot of Moon Knight visuals in the man cave. Yeah.
Yes, you know the one I have. I'm just waiting for it to get stretched out for the canvas.
Oh, that's right. Yes, of course. Also, as well, might I just say, and Loonies, any Loonies who are interested in a lot of the things that we're talking about Rick's collections and interests. Rick, I'm going to have to. I'll grab a list off you and I'll put it in the show notes for anyone who's interested.
Yeah, sure.
So maybe I think you mentioned there was a manga series or a mech series that you mentioned just a while ago. We'll put all that in, as well as the stuff from Wildstorm, anything from Rob Liefeld. Just give the Loonies a smattering of what Rick is into. Our fellow.
I might throw in some good stuff as well.
Don't sell yourself short. You'll throw some good stuff as well.
I know, man. But Gundam Wing is technically the most normal thing to say. I want to throw in some really obscure stuff.
Okay, yeah, sure. What was that one that you just said then? It just passed me. Gunslinger? What did you say?
Gundam Wing.
Gundam Wing. Okay, cool. So this is all very new to me. So.
Okay. I'll teach you. I'll teach you, my friend.
Okay, fantastic. Great. Well, I'm just wondering what movie TV shows, Rick? TV shows. Give me your thoughts. Throw me your thoughts now at the current state of TV shows. I think. Look, let's limit it to say comic book related ones, or of that ilk, or that. And possibly the ones of yesteryear, of the past. So, are you watching many current shows now? And if so, which ones?
I haven't watched anything in a while. I think the last show I watched, it's not comic related.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yes. Because I used to watch a ton of Arrow and the Flash and stuff.
Yep. Oh, okay. So yeah.
Oh no, you go.
I was about to say, so they were. If you watched a ton of them, so they were quite compelling, yeah.
I'd say first 2 seasons of Flash and the first 2 seasons of Arrow.
Okay. But how about like the League of Tomorrow, Supergirl, stuff like that? Black Lightning, any of that?
I like Black Lightning, but I have never finished it.
Okay. Right. Okay, so it sounds like... It's funny, I always just assumed, because I know that you were quite an avid moviegoer, and I thought that maybe you were quite an avid TV thing, but obviously they don't necessarily go hand in hand, I guess.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, actually, and no spoilers for anyone, I understand that you watched Deadpool 2 as well?
Oh, yes, I saw that the other day.
Yeah, I saw that on Facebook. I think you posted something up. Look, no spoilers, and let's keep it absolute minimum. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it?
I thought it was good. It was not as great as the first one, but overall, it's still a good movie.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, hoping to catch up with that. And how about the Netflix shows then? If we're looking at Marvel side of things, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., say, as well. Have you been catching any of that?
I haven't watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. since Ghost Rider appeared.
Oh, okay, that's not that long ago. That was just last season, yeah. Although they do have a lot of episodes in between them. There's like 20-odd, isn't there, a year? Okay. And the Netflix shows, are you a fan at all, or...?
I love the Netflix shows, man. They blow everything out of the water.
Okay. There we go. So I've struck gold again. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Cool. And so what we got is Luke Cage coming up in June, season 2. I'm kind of looking forward to that, just to see where it goes. I mean, I'm always interested in second seasons because all the platform has been laid already in my eyes, like with season 1. So there's a bit more freedom.
Lay the foundation.
That's exactly. So there's a bit more freedom with what they can do, and I think you saw that a bit with Daredevil as well, which is cool. And they've actually wrapped up their season 3 filming.
Oh yeah,
that's very quick. It's like wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you see the news, by the way?
Is that no? Tell me.
That Bullseye got casted.
Yes, yeah, and I think I recognise the guy only because my partner Eve watches Heart of Dixie. I think.
I'm not going to lie, that was one of my guilty pleasures.
Was it? Well, that's a guy from there, I think. Am I right? I mean,
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's the main squeeze of the main lead. I think that's him. But anyway, Loonies, I'll maybe put that on the show notes. I'm not sure. But you're right. Bullseye got cast. Dare I tell you any more? Do you want to know any more or any less? I know a little bit more.
Surprised me, man.
Sorry?
Surprised me.
It's not really a spoiler. Okay, well, spoilers just in case, Looney, so just turn the podcast off for the next, 30 seconds. Okay, go. All right, so apparently he's not going to get a costume, though. That's a...
Oh, Daredevil?
No, Bullseye.
Oh.
Yeah, they're going to... he's got a slightly different history, I think, to what the Lester we know in the comics. But he won't have a costume, or maybe they're just playing silly buggers, and maybe it will be revealed towards the end. Yeah,
or it could be like the Marvel Max version. He never had a costume either.
Could be, yeah. So and if he gets branded, still gets branded on the head, doesn't he? In the yeah. So well, maybe actually that's a good point. Maybe if there's no costume, maybe he gets branded at the end. I don't know, but
hopefully.
Yeah, but he is apparently he's really scary. So I cannot wait. There's nothing better.
You want some trivia right now?
Yeah, sure.
Did you know originally Jason Statham was cast as
Yes, but I heard he refused the role. I heard
he at first was interested in it.
Yeah.
Then he asked for money.
Oh.
Yeah, then it's like, yeah, no thanks.
But he's got a bit of sway. I reckon he would... He would have done
it great.
He would have done great, yeah, but I think he would have been entitled to a bit more money. But I guess, Marvel / Netflix, they can only do so much. So, Yeah, and the thing is that, and they've set a precedent as well, Marvel, if you're not pulling your weight or doing whatever, they can easily recast you. Look at, is it Terrence Howard and Don Cheadle? Look at Ed Norton and Mark Ruffalo. They've got no qualms, no problems recasting. So, as an actor, I think that'll be a pretty tough line, or a pretty fine line to make a deal with. Because they certainly have some sway. Yeah, right. Okay, Rick. Well, I think I'm just mindful of the time as well for you. What I reckon we'd do is, how about we jump in the cab with Jake, and he can take us to Gena's Diner. And might I just say that thank you to Tommy, the man on the streets, for pointing it out. Yes, truly, Doug Mensch did say that it is Gena, not Gena's Diner. I had always pronounced it Gena. Did you pronounce it Gena or Gena?
Gena, unfortunately.
Yeah, I did. I think 90% of people did. But there's an interview, and I'll shout out again the Epic Marvel podcast by one of our Loonies, Kurt Finlay, who's a friend of the show as well. They have an interview with Doug. I always get his name wrong. Doug Mensch. And he actually mentions...
Doug Monic.
How do you say it?
I always used to say it Doug Monic.
Oh, Monic. Yeah, a lot of people... I think there are about 20 different ways to pronounce it. But yeah, anyway, he was on the show, and he was talking about his characters, and he mentioned Gena's Diner. So, from the mouth of the creator, we've got to stick with that. So, yeah. So, have you got your books, Rick? Are you ready to go to Gena's Diner?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right. Well, let's go outside. We'll just walk down the hall here. Okay, and in we get. Let's go.
All right.
Hey there everyone, I'd like to tell you about the YouTube channel I Am Your Target Demographic. If you're a fan of comics, we have plenty that you'll enjoy over there, including a series called Heroes Like Us that explores comic characters of all sorts of different identities. And we even have a series that defines words that are used in nerd culture that you may not know what they mean. So you can check us out by heading to YouTube and searching I Am Your Target Demographic, or look up IAYTD on any social media outlet.
All right, Loonies, we are here at Gena's Diner. It's a little busy here, Rick. That's fine. We found a spot. I found a booth here. And, oh, look, there's Crawley. Hello, Crawley. How are you? And,
Hi, mate.
Yeah, he's always up for a yarn. But, once he starts, he never stops. So, yeah, let's not hang around him. Oh, here comes Gena. Okay. Hi, Gena. How are you? Rick, what are you up for? You want a cup of coffee? You want a slice of pie?
Oh, I want a cup of coffee and a chili dog, please.
Perfect. And I will have, a cup of coffee, and give me one of them slices of pecan pie there. Thanks, Gena. Cool. All right. Well, while we wait for our feed, Rick, I think we better get into your ISLA comics. So, Loonies, as mentioned before, we have our friend Rick on the show, the Rickball Special, and I asked Rick to actually throw at me 4 of his favourite titles, I guess, or the most impactful titles that he's encountered in his long tenure as a comic book reader. And Rick, I'm going to pull out my my copies as well. So we got 2 honourable mentions, right? So I hope this is correct, Rick. The ones we've done. So the first one, Rick has cited as one of his faves is Ghost Rider, Wolverine, and Punisher, Hearts of Darkness. And this was a cracker of a read, Rick, I must say. Before we get into a summation of the book, why did you pick this one?
I don't know. Maybe because when I was younger, I loved crossovers, and seeing this one with like 3 of the biggest characters at the time blew me away.
Oh, they certainly were the big three during the 90s. Let me just pull up just some dates here. So released December 1991, it was written by Howard Mackey, artist John Romita Jr. with inkers by Klaus Janson. So we've got some great talent here already. Colorist John Wellington with editors Bobby Chase and Christian Cooper. So this stuck out for you, Rick, because of, I guess, Ghost Rider, Wolverine, and the Punisher. Did you have any preference of those between the 3?
Oh yeah, I loved Ghost Rider growing up.
Ah, perfect. Are you a Danny Ketch man?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Me too, I must say. I got introduced to Ghost Rider through Danny Ketch as well. That great series. So yeah. And Rick, I'll let you. Do you want to go through just roughly what the story is about then?
Yeah, sure. Alright, give me 1 second because I got my physical copy out here.
Ah, lovely.
Yeah. I had this one since I was young.
Right. Is it a trade paper or is it a hardcover? Or?
I think it's just like a soft cover.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty much it starts off, like a bunch of Satanists sacrificing a poor girl, like they always do.
Yes. Yeah.
And then out of nowhere... Oh, sorry, go on.
No, I was just about to say, it's quite grisly, but yeah.
Then out of nowhere, you got this great image of Blackheart that's coming out of the ground.
And
it's so iconic, they use it in countless video games. It's great.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another thing I didn't ask you about video games. Are you an avid player?
Yes, I am, actually. Yeah, I would say so.
And what are you, a PS4 man or an Xbox One man?
I love all of them. I have all of them.
Oh, wow. Okay. Excellent. Why not? Eliminate the choice. That's great.
Eliminate the rivalry.
Yeah, exactly. Eliminate the rivalry. And what's the game of choice at the moment?
I haven't played in a while.
Okay.
But if I was the last game I've played, it would be South Park.
South Park?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know they had a game.
Yeah,
cool.
This game is a role-playing game.
Okay.
And the theme is superheroes.
Ah, mad.
So there's like a ton of Marvel DC references.
Oh, great. So you get both of them in the one hit. That's good.
Yes. Pretty much you just make your own costume. And my character looks like Moon Knight. I try to make it look like Moon Knight as possible.
Ah, that's awesome. Is there any way that... it's probably... Maybe if you have some time, could you snap a shot, chuck it onto the Facebook group? That would be cool.
Of course.
No, that'd be awesome. Sorry, anyway, I sidetracked you here. So you're saying Blackheart, he comes out and...
he comes out, he pretty much decimates all the poor Satanists. Because let's be real, they sort of deserved it.
Yeah.
And he's pretty much complaining about how his dad just ruins him.
Mm-hmm.
And in the next page, it's Danny Ketch riding into town.
Yeah. Yeah, he's looking pretty cool in his on his motorbike. And so basically this is where he basically meets up with Wolverine and the Punisher, which I think is hilarious in this it looks like what is it? It's a Airbnb or something.
Yes.
But can you imagine those three happen to get the same Airbnb? It's the funniest thing was them at the table. Like, if these guys do not look dodgy, I don't know who
Oh man, the Punisher one kills me all the time.
Oh, with their fake moustache.
The little moustache, man, it kills me.
I know. It's almost disappeared amongst the folds of muscle and stubble and friggin' just toughness, isn't it?
You can imagine like a huge guy that looks like Frank Castle, but he's got like the smallest mustache. And it's like the whole Superman. It's like whole Clark Kent with glasses.
Yeah. Well, it's a little attention to detail that that kind of get things happening, but in essence, so in this book, they basically they team up, and so what's the crux of it? So so Blackheart actually appears to all of them, and what's he want to do? Just take over the human race?
I think he just wants to take over the town and
takes over the town.
Have it.
Yeah. But he's picked the three toughest hombres out there. So, and I love the Wolverine classic. Not classic costume. It's a 90s classic costume. I love that brown and yellow.
Brown and orange.
Yeah, they should bring more of that back. Like that's how I remember him as well.
Same.
Yeah, but so yeah, I mean, so in general, then I guess so. Blackheart is trying to take over the town. He takes over not Moon Knight. He takes over Ghost Rider's bike at one stage as well.
I always found that funny. Like of all the things he takes the bike.
Oh, the bike's pretty powerful though, isn't it?
Oh, it is powerful, man. I just always found it hilarious.
Yeah. He broke the lock, broke the club lock, and off he goes.
He used a little screwdriver and everything. Can you imagine that?
He jimmied the what do we call
lock
it?
And everything.
The lock, yeah.
I want a director's cut of this book now, just for that scene.
But it's not long before we get Danny Ketch actually stealing a bike, and so it must seem like he needs a bike in order to turn into Ghost Rider. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because I remember in Danny Ketch he had that little button on the bike that he needed to hit, and he turned into Ghost Rider. But his bike got stolen here by Blackheart, so he's got just a normal bike here. But I guess the act of sitting on the bike sets him off.
Yeah, I think because all the times he put his hand on it, just marked into his hands.
Ah, right. Okay, of course, and that's what he's looking at. Yeah. So once he's on the scene, and let's face it, Ghost Rider has got to be one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe. I do remember reading Doctor Strange had said that as well. So if that's coming from Doctor Strange, you know that Ghost Rider is the real deal.
He's able to take on the Hulk single-handedly.
Oh, he can. There was a comic that we, a Mark Spector comic that we reviewed where Plasma, this 2-bit character, she evaporated him, and moments later he came back. So
I love that issue, man.
Yeah, if you can come back from being evaporated or just annihilated, then you can't be stopped, can you? So
I want to move out of topic. There was an episode of the Fantastic Four, like the kids show in the 90s.
Yeah.
It was a great episode, man. Like Galactus came to Earth, Thor. I think some of the Avengers came to try and stop him, but guess who saved the day?
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Ghost Rider. Danny Ketch comes in, does the penance on Galactus, make them see the souls of every single person he's eaten.
Oh, geez, that's a lot.
And Galactus just loses, man. He just caves in and couldn't even handle it anymore.
Wow.
And that blew me away.
Yeah, he's massively powerful. Well, depending on the writer, I guess, but he is massively powerful. Like you have Frank Castle fobbing off Ghost Rider, saying your stare doesn't work on me. We actually a little shout out to Inner Demons, the Ghost Rider podcast. Those guys there have been reviewing a lot of cool Ghost Rider issues, and I think they reviewed recently Punisher War Journal in the 90s, Rick. And it was, I think it was issues 28, 29, or 29, 30, but it involved Ghost Rider on there. But in those issues, the Punisher just said, don't worry about using that stare on me. It won't work. So, so different horses for courses, I guess. But as we just go through this this story here, so the Punisher and Frank get caught in what seem to be some thorn bushes. And there's a bit of a fight here. They end up on the hill where the Satanists were. Is that correct? I'm assuming that's where they were. Yeah. And there's a big fight that happens. And Ghost Rider basically. Ghost Rider. Well, a bit of Ghost Rider, a bit of the Punisher. just decimate Blackheart. And,
Yes.
And off he goes. And then we get Big Bad Mephisto with his, jeez.
My favourite design of Mephisto, actually.
Sorry?
It's my favourite depiction of Mephisto.
Oh, yeah, me too. You don't see it enough. It's a very non-human looking Mephisto, which is... and massive. I can see how this leans towards your monster leanings here, Rick. So
Yes. Also, it just reminds me of a lot of like 80s horror.
Yeah, true. He's I don't want to mention it there, but he's there with he's got a long tongue, he's got a big mane, he's got some man boobs. Let's face it.
Oh, those man boobs though.
But his nipples. Have you seen his nipples?
I'm looking at them now. They're huge. They got
I
hair
know.
on it.
I cannot look away. Anyway, Mephisto makes an entrance, and he basically says, "Yeah, my son's been a bit of a dick, Blackheart." He's talking about. Thanks for that. And he kind of eats him, and that's it. Takes him away.
And he threatens Ghost Rider.
And he threatens Ghost Rider as well. That's a really cool panel there of Ghost Rider. Man, I'm gonna have to make a note here because I want to post this up. I might post that up. Ghost Rider image of him just with a blast of light, and you know how his flame head kind of goes like it's being shone down as well. Really cool. But okay, so that was. I didn't want to dwell. Sorry, Rick. I didn't want to dwell too much on this one. This is an honourable mention. So, so this was Ghost Rider 1991. Ghost Rider Wolverine Punisher. Was this a OGN? Is this like a just straight to graphic novel?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. Yeah, because I couldn't see where the breaks would have been if it was like issues. But yeah. So that was your first honourable mention, Rick. And you mentioned that you love that because three cool leads.
That and John. Oh, sorry.
Yes, that's it. Sorry.
And also John Romita's art blew me away in that series.
Yeah. He's another one of those that I guess if you're like relatively new or you're starting out, because this is what you found this, you got this when you were young, right?
Yes.
John Romita's Jr.'s art is one of those. He's one of those artists that does make a profound effect, I think, on young followers when they first see it, because it's very distinct. I mean, it's similar to all the other memorable artists. I remember I loved Dale McKean as well from The Incredible Hulk. His art. He's fantastic. I don't know what he's doing now. I hope he's doing more work.
I think he's just doing covers.
Okay.
I think last time I heard.
Because he had a seminal run during that Peter David run when the Hulk becomes that conglomeration, the Smart Hulk, basically. That was during his run, and it was fantastic.
Honestly, to be honest, I only read a few issues of the Peter David run, but I've never gotten a chance to read it.
Okay. Well, all right. You're going to have to put that on your bucket list, Rick. It's really good. And if you love the 90s...
My bucket list is huge.
Yeah. It's more like a barrel list.
Yeah. It's a cauldron list.
A cauldron. But, if you like 90s stuff, right up your alley. It'd be really... I can highly recommend it. All right, I want to go to your next honourable mention, Rick, which is actually a doozy. I've never read this before. I read it over a couple of days because... are we talking about the novel, which had part 2 in there as well, or were you talking about just the first story?
I was just talking about the first Ghost Rider Wolverine Punisher.
Oh, no, sorry. The next one I'm talking about, which is Gotham by Gaslight.
Oh, just part 1.
Just part. Okay, cool. I read the whole thing, the part 1 and 2. But give us a quick rundown. Look, let me just spout this out. This is Batman Gotham by Gaslight, another honourable mention by Rick, released February 1989, which is a lot earlier than I thought, actually. Writer Brian Augustin, artist the brilliant Mike Mignola, inkers P. Craig Russell, colorist David Horning, letterer John Workman, and editor Mark Waid. Rick, how would you give us a rundown of the story here? And why did you like it as well?
I think it's just short and simple. It's just what if Batman was just created during the 1800s, during a time in Jack the Ripper was around.
Yeah.
And it's simply brilliant.
It is. It's very cool. And we see a lot more of it now with, obviously, from Marvel, the big 1602 from Neil Gaiman, which was, I think, which was kind of groundbreaking as well. But if you look at this is pretty much doing the same thing. And I think this one predates Neil Gaiman's. I'm pretty sure. Do you know?
I don't know, actually.
Let me have a quick look. I'm going to type it up because I have a laptop here at Gena's Diner, obviously.
Lucky.
Yes, because we are here. And, oh, hi. Yeah, hi, Gena. Thank you. Just put the coffees down there. There, Rick, there's your chili dog.
Finally.
And, ooh, this pecan pie looks delicious. Thank you so much, Gena. Yeah, just put it on the tab. Thank you. Okay, let me have a little quick look at this. So what are we looking at? Neil Gaiman, 1602. So Gotham by Gaslight was 1989. 1602 came out in 2003. So that was way after. So this predates it, and it is a pretty good. What did you think of Mike Mignola's art on this?
As someone who, when I first found this book, it was in like a garage sale. Picked it up, I'm like, that is a really striking cover.
It is, isn't it?
Then I started reading, I fell in love with the artwork.
Yeah.
Like, everything about it, the way it's drawn, how it's dark and moody.
Yeah. It's got enough style in it, doesn't it? Because, look, I can only speak for myself, but in the 90s, with the greats like Jim Lee, Rob Liefeld, and... and that ilk, Todd McFarlane, there was a lot of detail in the art, which really kind of, I think, really attracted me as a young follower of the comics. Mike Mignola, it's very stylized. There's not so much, he picks the lines that he needs to draw, and it's very much, I find, closely related to the colouring and his use of shadows, dark and light. So if you see a lot of his images, he uses a lot of blacks, a lot of contrasts, and in that different way, it kind of it really pops out, and that's how I think anyway. But the colouring here as well. If you just look through here, it's kind of muted, which is really good because it's in that Victorian era. So a lot of it's not like vibrant colours. Everything's kind of muted. But yeah, this was a good pick, Rick. I'd never read it before, and I love the idea how Batman was intrinsically linked to Jack the Ripper, basically.
Yes.
So in this, he basically finds out that his parents' friend, Packer, I think was his name, was actually Jack the Ripper doing all the murders, and he hired the people to kill Batman's parents as well.
Because he was obsessed with Martha.
That's right, yes. Because he was... And that's it, yeah. And she laughed at him when he made advances towards her, and that kind of set him off on his psychopathic rage to kill, I guess, all these prostitutes around Gotham. Obviously, he's set in Gotham. He comes across from England, so it's meant to be kind of like Jack the Ripper, but obviously there's slight differences as well, being a comic book. But yeah, very, very cool. Anything else here, Rick, that you'd like to mention about this issue which really stood out for you?
Okay, this one's actually really cool. If you read it a few times, you'll notice it. Mm-hmm. When he's Bruce Wayne, it's all white panels and pages.
Okay.
But when it's all the Batman stuff, it's all black pages.
Oh, wow. Yeah, right.
Sometimes it's black pages, sometimes it's white with black. My favorite, when he's during in prison, is all grey.
Yes, let me just when he's in his striped convict stuff.
Yeah, it's a mixture of black and grey.
Right. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah, really, I love those little touches, because it just goes to show that there's a lot of thought into it.
Yes.
Which is,
and also, I just love the way how it's like during the book, it's all mutant stuff. The reds always seem to pop out.
Well, very important colour for to really make it stand out, really make it like a strong impact, I guess, on the reader. There's one panel. I'm just going to look here. Well, I've got a digital copy here. It's page 39. There's one where Jack the Ripper is trying to get away from Batman, and the red is used on his eyes and on the inside of his mouth. And
That's my favorite.
Sorry?
That's my favorite.
Yeah. And that really, I remember like looking at it going, whoa, okay, this guy really is a little sick. But it really just shows the evil in him, which is really cool. It's a very, I think, a well-paced issue. Did you miss at all? I did wonder a little about any other of Batman's rogues galleries going to pop up. I think there was an allusion towards the Joker. Yeah, but that was about it. And actually, I thought, you know, who? Oh no, that was a. Yeah, no, I thought there would have been a character that would have popped in, a villain.
I would have thought so too, but at the same time, I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it would have taken away from the story.
I think in retrospect, yeah, absolutely, you're right.
Because they did something like that in the animated movie.
Oh, okay. Yep.
It's not good.
Oh, so they made an animated movie of this.
Yeah, but it's really bad.
Ah.
Because they put in like that age's depictions of characters.
Yeah.
They made like Poison Ivy a prostitute, which was like really questionable.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It wasn't great. I watched like 15 minutes of it, and I couldn't take it because it was that bad.
Oh. Okay. Is that available on iTunes or Amazon or something like that? Or?
Pretty sure it's available on iTunes.
Okay. Cool. Oh, excellent. Okay, well, maybe one to miss unless you're curious, Loonies, to have a look at how the comic book adaptation on screen compares to the comic book itself. Another thing, I really did like Batman's costume in this as well.
It's great.
Yeah, tying in with the old school, obviously, 18th century, whatever it is. He's also got a collar on top, which kind of makes sense, you know, as a cloak. Like his cape is almost a cloak, and his mask is very old school. So you see the eye and the skin around the eyes, as opposed to the very stylized, just dark bat mask that he has.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that was a very cool issue. Yeah, really enjoyed that. All right, well, those were your two honourable mentions, Rick. And now we are going to dive straight into your main issues, your two ISLA books. So these two issues, if you happen to head out onto a boat into the Isle of Ra and meet the Sun King and have to stay on that island for a foreseeable amount of time, these two issues will keep you in good stead throughout your time on the island. So, the first one we have is... Oh, actually, have you got your issues out there?
Oh, that's all ready.
Already? How about you take us through... let's go through the first one, and maybe can you shout out the credits for that?
Oh, sure. It's Ultimate X-Men issue 41, New Mutants Part 2, written by David Finch. No, not David Finch. Brian Michael Bendis. Art by David Finch. And inking by Art Tibbett?
Yes.
Is it Tibbett?
Yeah, okay. Art Tibbett. Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah. And, alrighty, so what we're going to do, Loonies, as this is one of Rick's main books, we are going to crack on into it. So, if we open up the first page, what I'll do, Rick, maybe we can alternate between pages. So I'll describe the first page, and then we'll take it from there. So this is very different from Brian Michael Bendis' other stuff I found when I read this. Number one, I thought this was a really cool issue in the sense that it asks big questions, you know, and we'll get to that when we get to it. But anyway, so at the beginning, the text is pretty light. So we've got a nice view of just a a generic house in the suburbs somewhere, and there's a young fella in his bedroom with his posters and TV and video games and stuff. He's in bed, and it looks like his alarm clock goes off. The radio comes on, and very simple panels here. Then there's a close-up of his feet as he gets out of bed, and then a close-up of his eyes as he kind of starts to wake up.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then in the next panel, he's just going around in the kitchen like he always do, looking for food, noticing like plates that are just hanging around, taps being turned on for a while. Mm-hmm. And he's just calling his mum, telling him he's going to be late for work. Or not work, school.
Yeah. And again, the text is very minimal. Like, we don't get any text until the last panel, basically. And I don't know about you, Rick, as well. I found this art very similar to... It reminded me of Mark Silvestri. Did you get that?
Yes.
Yeah,
I did, actually.
Yeah. I mean, very different from Finch's work in Moon Knight. Obviously, different characters and stuff, but it's still great. I still love it. But yeah, and he's got his Punisher T-shirt on, so a lot of references there. Yep. So the next page, he's still waiting for his mum. There's still a lot of silence. He screams out, "Mum!" He's hungry and he's got to go, and he's starting to. I think he's starting to get a little worried. And then at the bottom, we see an interplay of small, like, vertical panels, and he sees from the corner of his eye, it looks like some trousers or some pants around the corner of the joinery, the bench in the kitchen.
Yep, and once he sees it fully, it's just like jeans and a top on the floor, and he just gives this eyebrow raise, like, what? Then he keeps on calling his mother. Then he just writes down a little post-it note. And just goes straight to school.
Yeah. Now, at this stage, as a reader as well, because this is the first time I read it, I had a few thoughts in my head here, Rick. I don't know about you. I thought maybe something was weird, like, the mum's laid this out. Like, is this some sort of message that she's, like, leaving him? You don't know. I hadn't thought of anything else other than that, and I was reading the print on the shirt because I said so I thought maybe... Is she trying to tell him something? So it's all quite mysterious. And again, very minimal text. So as he walks out of his house, we get stuff like paper just being blown in the wind to give a sense of, I guess, isolation. He looks down, he sees a dog collar or a cat collar on the pavement. And again, a shot of him just like wondering, okay, what's happening here? And he just walks by the collar, I guess dispelling it as maybe just being abandoned. But yeah, things are looking a little different.
Yes, then he goes past and sees, a bunch of cars, people on bikes, just people doing their normal stuff. And he has a sigh of relief saying like, oh, thank God. I thought there is people, thank Christ. So he starts walking away. Then next thing you know, they just start burning.
Yeah, this was really kind of hitting home. Okay, something seriously is wrong here. Like, there's not just clothes lying on the floor and stuff. We actually see that things are out of control here. So we get just smoke coming out, and what I gathered again from this, what I first thought was that it was just the cars crashing into each other that caused that smoke. But we'll find out later on that it isn't. It's something else. And so as we go through, he actually finally makes it to school, and I got a sense of, okay, things aren't totally bad. Because I thought actually it was like a zombie apocalypse or something, Rick, at first, because there was no one, absolutely. Yeah. So this page was kind of like, okay, so there are people at school. Okay, there's a school bus. And things start to kind of look normal. So he talks to what looks to be his would-be girlfriend, and she just asks, why haven't you called me? And he's saying, I'm not allowed to have the phone after 10. She's like, that's pretty silly. You got to call me. But then there's a close-up of her face, and she obviously sees something that he doesn't. And again, it's silence as we turn the page.
Yeah, everyone just starts disintegrating right in front of her eyes.
It's the first big sign that we get that something really is out of order here.
And he is freaking out. And turns and he sees her burning. Just before her last breath, she just looks up with all the smoke coming, her skin like drying up, just saying, "It's you."
Yeah, and there's no mistaking now. Like, there's no way that she can come back. Like, she's really charred and burnt, and so this is very final for her and for everyone. And as we go to the next page, it's a big splash here, and there's an overhead shot of basically all the students with either just clothes on the ground, smoking, or students in the middle of being smoked, and he just looked horrified. He has a horrified look on his face, and again, no words to describe anything, just the pictures.
Pure fear.
Yeah.
The next panel, it's just a shot of a cave. Mm-hmm. Then a figure comes and just lights a little match up.
Yeah, it's very very simple. Establishes that we're at night, and a shot from inside, and someone with very familiar hair comes in. And
I wonder who that could be.
Yeah, and lights.
Is it Night Thrasher?
Could be Darkhawk. I don't know.
Oh, probably.
But hang on, I've turned the page, and the match shows everything, and it's none other than Logan, Wolverine, who is there. And as he looks, again, very little text here, he looks into the darkness, and someone's been, camping out there. There's some twigs, and some food. Macca's, yeah. Macca's. And as he looks in, there's a voice from the darkness says, "Get out, just get out of here." But Logan lights that little fire in front of the hole.
Yep, what does he do? Oh yeah, he cracks a beer, he cracks it open to a cold one for the boys. Mm-hmm. And he just looks at the kid, offers him a beer.
As you do.
And he's like, and the kid's like, "You look familiar." He's like, "Yeah, I'm a world famous mutant, man."
Yeah, that's right. And he recognizes him, doesn't he? Oh shit, you're one of the X-Men. So he's a huge hitter. We've got Wolverine, none other than Wolverine, looking at this kid. So as we turn the page as well, he reveals himself as Wolverine, and he kind of assuages the kid that, "Don't worry, you're not going to hurt me, I've got a healing factor, I just want to talk to you." And he's been sent by Charles Xavier, using what we can only imagine is Cerebro, to find him. And he just he offers him a beer, I guess, and just drinks.
Yeah. Then the boy just asks, "Is he a mutant?" Wolverine's like, "Yes." And it's all yeses from Wolverine from there.
Oh yeah, it is.
And the boy just starts breaking down right in front of him.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty cold, isn't it? Because the boy's trying to find out what's happening, and the first thing he asks, obviously, "Am I a mutant?" Okay. But then he starts asking the really, really deep questions, like, "Was it me then?
Did I kill my parents?"
Yeah, and Wolverine just, yep. And "I killed them because I'm a mutant?" Yep. All the people died because I'm a mutant. And Wolverine just, yep. It's obviously, for a guy that has seen a lot of death, this doesn't faze him.
And has caused a lot of death as well.
Yeah, exactly. So death to him is something totally different to someone that has just found out that they caused the death, not only of people, but of his parents, which is a big thing. And so he cries away, and then after he kind of composes himself, he asks Wolverine, how many did he kill? And Wolverine at first doesn't want to tell him, but as he prods, he goes somewhere between, around 265, maybe more. And that just floors the guy. He is absolutely shocked at how many people he's killed. Yeah.
Then Wolverine tells him that his powers activated once he hit puberty last night. Pretty much his abilities is his mutation radiates a series of toxins and acid-like poisons, and everything around him in a 1,000 radius that kills organic tissues.
Yeah, it's a pretty sucky. It's a pretty sucky power to have.
Yeah, and the kid starts breaking down more. Like, that's all I do. All I do is kill.
Yeah.
And Wolverine has legit nothing to say whatsoever.
He doesn't. He has exactly the same...
Let's be real, he's faced like Sabretooth, faced like all these fearsome villains, but...
Oh, yeah. Sentinels.
But when you... Oh, Sentinels, of course.
Yeah.
Mobsters. But when he comes to like a poor kid just like breaking down right in front of you, even like the toughest person has nothing to say.
Yeah. He just is comfortable just sipping his beer. He just doesn't want to say much. So the kid is obviously very upset, and he says, "I can't live with myself with this." And Wolverine just says, "I know." And he looks at the kid, and the kid looks back at him with tears down his eyes, and Wolverine just continues to drink his beer. And then he starts to reflect on how his life could have been so much different. You know, he could have enjoyed a lot more. So he starts talking to Wolverine about all that.
Yeah, he tells him like how he wanted to do a national stock race. He wanted to go cross country next summer. He was looking at colleges. And him and his girlfriend never do the thing. Even Wolverine's like, "I'm sorry, man."
Yeah. And he just starts crying again.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so... Sorry?
Even he's like, "But all those people are my mother," and Wolverine's like, "Yeah, they're just going to cover it up, say like some kind of chemical leak." That's what they always say.
Yeah. And he's all because he's saying, look, if it ever comes to it, and if they knew that a mutant did this, then the ramifications
would be huge.
Yeah, mutants worldwide would be massive. So, so we get I get the good page. So then he's crying. Yeah, and again a little less texty, and Wolverine just continues to drink another beer. And so the kid says, so if he had one chromosome to the left or something like that, one thing slightly different, he could have been something different. He could have been either human, or he could have been another mutant with a better power than just a power that kills and vaporizes. And Wolverine says, yeah, maybe. And the kid kind of breaks down. Wolverine tells him, just finish your beer. And the kid says, in the shadows, just do it.
Yeah. And at the end, you just see the cave. It gets closer. Each panel goes closer to the cave. At the final panel, it's just Wolverine getting out of the cave, looking really sad.
Yeah. Jeez, it's and that's the end of the issue. And geez, Rick, you picked a big one there, quite a heavy one. Sorry.
See, when people think of Bendis, they think of like the really bad Bendis.
Yeah.
But when I picked, reason why I picked that one, that's like the best Bendis. That's the Bendis everybody loves.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's not Bendis playing around with too much creative license and changing characters as history and stuff. What he's done, and what is very good Bendis here, as you say, is that it's very much the interaction between just two people, and it's a big I don't know, it's a big issue, right?
What I love about it the most, it's like very realistic how it would happen.
Yeah, and so how in this Ultimate X-Men, because this is the only issue that I've read of the whole run.
Okay.
So what is the premise here? How is Wolverine different, or how are the X-Men different from the main universe?
I haven't read it in ages, but pretty much Wolverine was originally on Magneto's Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Okay.
And when the X-Men tried to stop him, he falls in love with Jean. And that whole triangle happens again. The one everybody knows.
Yes.
He joined.
Yeah.
And it's actually a good series. Like the Bender stuff, the Miller stuff.
Yeah.
Are pretty good. Everything after that is questionable.
So what is it? Is it Wolverine going around rounding up mutants and killing them, or what's Or was that just was this just like really a one-off in the whole series of him?
I think it was part of that storyline. It's just him recruiting mutants.
Okay.
But something about this issue, man, is very deep.
It is, isn't it? I mean, like, you know, there are other questions as well, like, could they somehow contain the kid, and could Wolverine have brought him back, and could they have tried to fix him somehow? You know, I mean, there are options like, you know, magic or something, or some sort of tech, which I suppose you wonder afterwards, reading it, going, you know, could this not have been done? But in any case, the impact that it has of what Bendis chose to do, of having Wolverine go there to basically to save mutants, but at the cost of one life, had quite a strong impact, I think, and the fact that Bendis doesn't use much of his usually snappy dialogue, which is what a lot of people kind of associate Bendis with, really made it non-Bendis, I thought, for me. Look, 'cause a lot of Bendis that I love mostly is from the Daredevil run with him and Alex Maleev. Absolutely fantastic, but there was, you know, the dialogue was zinging there. It was really, really working. And, you know, other stuff, arguably not so good.
I don't know, his Ultimate Spider-Man was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, well, I haven't read that, and people always cite that as the top. Yeah, and the same with Alias as well. So he's got really, really big issues and titles that he's done.
Then he got Civil War too.
Yeah, exactly. And when voices start sounding the same, then I always find that as one of my first like yardsticks of like, okay, a writer should really be able to craft a voice. I mean, if you look at this issue as well, the two characters, the characters were very well drawn out. I think Wolverine and the kid are very distinct. You know, they both don't sound the same. You know, and there was a particular agenda from the kid. Wolverine had a particular mood. You can tell it's without a doubt Wolverine. He's kind of a bit grouchy, you know, a bit solemn, a bit quiet. So that sort of stuff, Bendis is really good at. Yeah, fantastic.
Another thing I loved about this issue, because we usually see David Finch draw like exquisite action scenes, like larger than life characters. This one he just draws like a nice. It's just like a normal day.
Yeah.
Not normal like that, but normal.
No, I know what you mean. It's nothing like that. There aren't any spaceships or aren't any car chases and dynamic action scenes. It's just everyday life, and he does it really well. Like attention to detail and everything. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, Rick, I am going to throw it to you first because I can. Let's give it some Crescent Dart ratings here. What would you give this first Ultimate X-Men Volume 1, Issue 41, and this was titled New Mutants Part 2. What would you give this out of 5 Crescent Darts?
Ooh. I would say 4. 4 Crescent Darts.
Yep.
Yeah.
A nice solid 4. Look, I would say 4 as well. Usually 4 for me is a solid and above, like as an enjoyable issue. You know, generally, if an issue is okay, I usually give it a 3, 3.5. But 4 is pretty good, I think. Very like a memorable issue. So I'd agree with you there, Rick. 4 Crescent Darts each for that one. So an average of 4 there, Loonies. Ultimate X-Men. Check it out if you can. And you have a physical copy of this, so obviously available on floppies still. Is it collected in a trade? Do you know, Rick?
Oh, I don't know. Because I know Marvel's been reprinting the Ultimate X-Men line.
Okay.
Not X-Men, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. Right. Well, I might just have a little quick look and I'll check. I'm sure it's available on Comixology as well, so you can pick it up there. Or Marvel Unlimited if you are a subscriber as well.
Yeah,
so,
I'll give you a tip now.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to get into Ultimate X-Men,
yep.
stop at the Robert Kirkman stuff.
Oh, Robert Kirkman does it?
Oh, yeah. He does a one called Ultimate Cable. It's a good arc, but after that, it's not good.
Oh, okay. So, do you know what issue number?
He was 68.
68. Putting you on the spot there. Okay, cool. I'm going to check it out. Awesome.
Ultimate Cable is like the best Robert Kirkman story
Okay.
of Ultimate X-Men, but after that, it just goes down in quality, unfortunately.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And it went for about 100 issues, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, well. Cool. That's, okay. Right. That's good. Thank you, Gena. Thanks for picking up that. That was delicious. The coffee was great. How was your chili dog there, Rick?
Oh, it's great, man. Those jalapenos.
Fantastic. Also, as well, Gena, just to let you know, you've got in front of you, I just noticed, Ricky and Ray. We're right here. So...
Oh.
Yeah, we aren't your sons, so don't get us confused for your sons, Ricky and Ray. But, we are the real deal, Ricky and Ray. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, let's head on to your second ISLA book here. Do you mind giving us the credits here, Rick?
Of course. It's a Moon Knight, the Users of Restraint story.
Fantastic.
Written by Charlie Houston. Art by Tom Cocker. Is it Cocker?
Coca.
Yeah,
Potato,
Coca.
potato,
I'll say Coca. And Don Cameron on 3D models and Dean White on colorists.
Excellent. And this was released December 2007. And before we get into this, Rick, I just would like to say, number one, obviously, thank you so much for including a Moon Knight comic, which is obviously great for Loonies listening. And number two, issue 13, I think I mentioned it a couple of times in the Facebook group. This would have to be one of my favourite issues as well.
That's a standout in that whole run.
It is, isn't it? And I'm glad that I'm not the only one that sees it. So it's really, when you mentioned this was your other book, I just, did a mental yes in my head because, this is a great issue. And we'll get into why as we go through it. I guess a little bit of background for it. This is around the time of the first Civil War event, and it's pretty much to do with the Registration Act, isn't it, Rick?
Oh, yeah. I'd say it's sometime after Civil War.
Yeah, a bit after, but the ramifications are still there, I guess.
Oh, yeah, it's like a month after it.
Yeah. But the effects of Civil War, I guess, are still kind of percolating throughout the Marvel Universe, and very much so here, with Moon Knight basically going to get assessed to whether or not he can get a registration card to be called an official superhero, or a what do they call it, certified vigilante.
Yes.
Yeah. So, how about you kick us off with the first page here, Rick?
Oh, of course. Oh, well, the first page starts with a Moon Knight on the edge of a building, and Iron Man is talking to him, but it's actually not Iron Man.
Yeah, this is good.
It's our boy Khonshu, just in a very, I think it's like a classic Iron Man suit to this day.
Yep.
Yeah, he's just asking him, like, you're going to do it? It's for the best, man. Come on.
Yeah.
You'll get arrested instantly if you don't. And Moon Knight's just looking at a paper clipping of, like, a war criminal in a armored car.
Yeah, it's an armored car as well. Like, not conspicuous at all.
Nothing sus.
No. And before we go into it goes into the next page, but I love the take on Moon Knight's costume here. There's very much an emphasis on the hood, so he does have this really, really scary look to him.
He reminds me of an executioner.
Yeah, or like the Grim Reaper or something. He, he's pretty cool. So him on top of the rooftop, and we immediately get the sense that he's obviously not 100%. As we always know, Moon Knight isn't. So he's talking to Khonshu / Bushman / Iron Man. It's like Khonshu pretending to be Bushman who's pretending to be Iron Man. It's pretty funny. But anyway, so he, basically he jumps off the rooftop.
And a stunning page nonetheless.
It is a great page. The colours, not only the art, but the colours are brilliant with it's like a watercolor almost. And so there's a lot of purples and reds, but you get that really the white from Moon Knight coming down. And again, his face still concealed in that big hood. And Moon Knight says, yep, well, he basically says to Khonshu, I'll do it. And Khonshu says, was there ever any doubt? And off he launches himself down onto the armoured vehicle.
Yeah, and the next panel just has like a little shot of a blood red moon, which is like good thing to start off with. And it just goes into a just in a normal police cell. Mm-hmm. And there's this guy, he's just like complaining like, how come I want to know why I'm dragged in looking like this. Yeah. And we find out he's talking to our boy Flint.
Yes. He's a real asshole as well, isn't he? He's a real asshole.
He's great.
Yeah. There's a bit of domestic violence happening there. Oh,
yes. And he's just there trying to smoke a cigarette, not caring whatsoever.
Yeah. And the guys are basically going, look, I can do whatever I want behind closed doors. You know, you're not allowed to. No one's meant to judge me on what I do. You know, whether or not he beats his kid or not. You know, that's not like a bad thing. I say sarcastically. So yeah. So anyway, he reveals why he's a little pissed off. This bugger, and it's because he's been branded by Moon Knight. So Moon Knight's obviously caught the guy doing his bad thing at home and invaded him and branded him with a crescent moon on his forehead. And basically, one of the officers is telling Flint, you know, you must have really gotten on the bad side of the lieutenant because you're getting all these cases. You know, why are you getting all these cases? But what Flint does, he takes out a Polaroid and he takes a quick snapshot of the guy sitting at his desk. Yeah, then next thing you know, the cop just like starts abusing Flint, telling him like, why don't you just get a digital camera? You know there's like internet, right? Yeah. And Flint, unfortunately, he's like, you know, we've got to cut him loose. Yeah. We didn't see him hit the kid. He just made a complaint. Yeah, and then the cop starts insulting Flint. Yeah, he does. Exactly. And then the poor guy's like, "Oh, you blew it. Wait till I come back and see what's going to happen." Yeah. Then Flint's like, "Yeah, whatever. Yeah, get out." Yeah, exactly. Because Flint knows. He goes, "Yep, we can release you. That's fine, but you realise we're going to release you with him out there." And he shows the freak, and he shows the guy a whole lot of pictures of other criminals that he's taken Polaroids of as well. And they Can I say one thing quickly? Yeah, sure. I think I know what you're going to say. I love the fact that out of all these criminals, the one that sticks out is Tommy Wiseau, known for creating the greatest worst movie of all time, The Room. Yeah. Just makes me laugh every time. Yeah. I remember you posted that up on the Facebook group, and it is without a doubt. It has got to be him, hasn't it? It's hilarious, and he's right there, front and center. It's hilarious. But there are other pictures of criminals there as well, and some of them have 3 or 4 crescent moons on their heads. Because Flint says, you know, if you're a repeat offender, the freak is going to get you again. And some of them don't have noses and lips, so really brutal stuff that Moon Knight does. And he scares the guy out of his office. And Flint just laughs to the policeman, saying, "Oh, I love it, the expression on their faces every time." And so basically, he just says, "Yep, the Moon guy will do what he wants." Basically. Yeah, basically. And the next panel, it's another shot of the moon, but this time it's not blood red. It's like a bit creamy. It's like a cream color. And it's Frenchie, and he's standing up in bed, and his boyfriend's like, "Come back to bed, man." And you could tell something's wrong. Yeah. And then next thing you know, it goes straight to Marlene, who's walking her boyfriend at the time. Well, I thought that was Mark. I don't know. Yeah, that's Mark. I think they just come from a movie. Oh, okay. Yeah. And she's very distracted by something. Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. I never even noticed that. I always thought it was a different guy.
Well, I mean, I can understand why as well, because they do have an on and off again relationship. So, yeah, very much so. But I do think it is him. Yes, I think it is. Oh, maybe it isn't. No, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Hang on. Well, anyway, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Talking like...
Yeah.
You have permission to sort all this out, and in the background you see someone's watching.
Yeah, that's right. Very well picked up. A lot of the art here reminds me of Alex Maleev as well. It's like very realistic. Yeah. So and what Coca does here is really cool. Is that it's almost like newspaper print. You can see the what do you call it, pixels or whatever of close-ups of the shading. So they're just like little dots. Really nice texture. And so anyway, we get moved to what can only be called, I guess, the Moon Cave. Massive moon hideout here. And we have Ray, one of Gena's sons, just working on, I assume, one of the mooncopters or one of the vehicles. And he's on the phone to his mum, Gena. So I hope she doesn't hear us. It's and he's on Long Island, it says, but he's just working on his job, and it seems to me that Gena doesn't know that he's working for Mark Spector. At the bottom of the page, we get the profile, who plays a big part in this, now working with Mark, and they're both in a car, and they're observing someone.
Yes, they are. Mm-hmm. Then it goes straight back to Frenchie and the boyfriend, and he's just really annoyed for some reason.
Yeah, Rob. He's because I think he's trying to get Frenchie to open up to him, but Frenchie's still not really saying much about what's troubling him. I mean, as a partner, I guess he's trying to help him, but Frenchie's very much closed off.
Of course. Then he slams the door and he just leaves, and Rob's like, men.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and it is another person. Yep, sorry. I remember this. Yep. Yeah, you're right.
And and Marlene just says it out front. He's just looking for an adrenaline rush in life in general.
Yeah.
He tells how her father, her brother, both murdered. My ex-husband left me, and Mark's just crazy. She's just looking for someone to look into, to hang on to. Yeah. But bloody Taylor, man, bloody Taylor.
Taylor, jeez, he's she wants. He gets accosted by some of the thugs there, and both Taylor and Marlene get mugged, it seems, and that's interspersed with another scene of, so we get Mark and the profile still in their car. They're looking at someone, so they're not looking at Marlene and Taylor, obviously. They're looking at someone else, and the profile wants to get a sense of this guy that they're looking at, and we find out that it's the psychiatrist that Mark will see, and he makes some really cool. I like these observations that Houston writes in here. So the profile says, I'm pretty sure it's the profile is doing, not Mark. Data observation: how he walks, adjusts his tie, says hi to security, touches his fly to see that it's not open, rubs chapstick on his lips, glances at the ass of the girl walking past, frowns at the dog pissing on the tree. And then from all this, the profile sees, he can kind of, with his mutant power, get a glimpse of what this guy is. And this is important because it comes up later. He says, I can see his lonely little childhood, that time Mummy caught you playing with yourself, that feeling of superiority out of nothing, but always having the highest test grades in class. Yes, I see the treadmill at home covered in dust. I see the bottle of hand sterilizer always in your pocket. So he's kind of summed up the guy already. and Mark says, "Okay, tell me what it is."
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it's just a page of Frenchie in his nice car. Let's just say that.
That's pretty
Just
cool.
at the front of Spectre Manor, would we say?
Yeah, I'd say
Just
so.
he just wants to go home, but he just can't. But at the same time, it's also spliced in.
Yeah.
Marlene just beating the utter crap out of these guys.
She's vicious, isn't she?
She's
Absolutely
like
vicious.
she's stepping on toes, kneeing people on the head,
Yep. Grabbing crotches.
grabbing crotches, and she pulls out keys.
I know. God.
Oh, I felt sorry for this guy.
Oh, yeah. And as we go, very little text here. She pulls back the head of one of the guys and she gouges him with the keys and she keeps on hitting him. Blood just flowing. And, yeah, so she is a fighter, not a lover.
Yeah, man. Then back to the moon cave. Poor Rob gets a gun behind his head.
I think it's Ray. Is that Ray?
Oh
no, Rob.
Yeah,
Is that Rob? Oh, it's
yeah,
Rob.
that's Rob first. Then Ray comes
Rob.
in.
And then Ray goes,
Yeah, that's you, man. I'm pretty sure that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ray's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. No one comes down here unannounced. It's a bit, creepy.
That's it. Yeah, and so Ray just mentioned something about Bushmoon. They're going, oh, don't worry, you won't see him again. And Ray said, yep, that'd be good. Next page, not much here. What we see here is it Mark or is it the psychiatrist? Someone walks through.
Psychiatrist.
The psychiatrist.
No, it's Mark. It's Mark.
Okay. So Mark is due for his appointment. He's basically going to get assessed whether he gets registered or not. He goes through the stringent security measures by S.H.I.E.L.D., as seen by the arm patch there for someone, and just a splash page, basically, of that.
Yeah, and the next panel, he's going through the metal detector, and it's just going off. I'm seeing X-rays of, like, all the metal plates he has.
Oh, gosh,
and and the lady's like, have you been in the war or something? And he's like, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Just brushes it off like it's nothing.
The guy is a walking bit of injury, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Then you got this guy trying to work Stark Tech, and it's just not working for him at all. And Spectre's like, can I just come in? Can I go in?
Yeah.
And then the psychiatrist is just there setting up his little camera. I'm Dr. Deathfoot, that's me.
Yeah.
Not a video tactician, unfortunately. I'm just horrible at this.
Yeah. And, so we get the sense as well, it's a very dark and it's a very dingy room, just the two of them. It's pretty much just an assessment. You got the blinds down, you got that soul camcorder set up, and he just checks. I think he just checks. He goes, Mark Spector, yes? I think he is checking for the personality. And Mark raises a hand, yep, that's me. Brilliant art here again, like very dark, kind of noirish. Anyway, so they shake hands. And Dr. Deptford just does some checks on Mark to make sure, which I thought was a really cool touch by Houston because that's a smart thing, just to make sure he's not a shapeshifter or anything, or he's been replaced on his way to the office, just to make sure he's a real deal. So he does takes out his little doohickey and just does a test, and I guess he's satisfied.
Yeah, and Mark's like, that happens? Actually happens? Like, oh no, it's just a joke. Like, how would you know? The doctor's like, how would I? Like, yeah, of course. Well, it could happen. Not until we start talking. Then Mark's like, so here I am. And the doctor's like, well, I suppose that's what we're here for, to determine in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, and then so they get into it. This back and forth dialogue. Mark says, I thought you were here to determine if I'm crazy. And the Dr. Deptford says, oh, no. You see, Mr. Spector, there's no doubt that you're crazy. So you can stop pretending. And he is very much intent on just processing and rejecting. Like, to Dr. Deptford, this is a open shut case. He knows Mark will never get registered because he is just a mental patient.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
then Mark's just saying, like, are you trying to provoke this? Are you trying to provoke this for a violent explosion? Just, you want something? The Doctor's like, sometimes not always, but sometimes. Then out of nowhere, he feels a shotgun right behind his head.
Yeah. Oh, well, he kind of threatens him a little. There's a little bit of a threat there. Yeah.
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 And he's like, oh, thank you, man. Just wanted to make sure nothing bad happens.
Yeah.
Let's just get out of here, and we could just start talking about your whole life. How you used to do military service, CIA contractor, former Avenger, several well-documented years as a masked vigilante.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just reminded me a little parallel, Rick, with the Ultimate X-Men issue. So for this second act of the issue, it's very much just a dialogue between two people, which is very different from Wolverine and the little kid. But I really do love how much you can gather from each of the characters just by having the two of them sit down and talk to each other. So this Dr. Deptford is basically telling Mark, geez, Mark, you have suffered a lot. For a man in his late 30s, generally you're in good condition. But the physical that you took last week was borderline. Several serious injuries over the years, and there's a shot of Mark's knees, which we know he had terrible accident.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so he's saying, he's basically saying about his physical prowess, I guess, still not being up to scratch. And then he asks Mark, why hasn't he registered his powers? And Mark says, well, I don't have any powers. And he goes, well, that's odd. There are accounts here of you witnessing that you do have powers. And this is a nice little nod, I think, to Fist of Khonshu, Volume 2 of Moon Knight, because he did have powers.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and pretty much the next page, it's just Mark just trying to deny, like, I didn't have powers, man. I haven't had them in years. Please don't mention it.
Yeah. Maybe there's a little something there that Charlie Houston's trying to tell us as well. Yeah, and it's got him then fighting in the jungles somewhere.
Yes. Like, I hated that costume, but it looks really good here.
Yeah, it looks all right. Yeah, his gold bracelets.
Yeah, and then Mark just says, like, powers, they're just overrated.
Yeah, exactly. He pretty much prefers, and we have seen, and a lot of Looney fans know, he just gets in there, he does the work. There's nothing fancy. Moon Knight just gets the job done as brutally as he can, and he says people can get hurt. And there's a beautiful splash page here of Mark in the foreground, Moon Knight looking almost like Grim Reaper-esque in the middle, and then there are just scenes of the likes of Morpheus, Marlene, and just a couple of other people from earlier runs, I do imagine. I do remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I think that's actually from Fist of Khonshu, those two references of that lady getting shot in the head, and of that other. Yeah. There was I vaguely remember it, but yeah, very nicely done.
Yeah, and the Doctor's like, it's a wise answer. It's a wholly other character. I hope you understand it. And by the way, and he's like, as a smart-ass thing to do.
Yeah, what a dick.
He pulls it open like, oh, the moon looks nice, don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love the page. I love the panel where just Mark just turns away, not to look at it.
Yeah.
And in the mirror, in the window, you just see our boy Khonshu just taunting him.
Yeah, just pointing a finger at him. Yeah. But because Mark knows what he'll see, I reckon, and so he just doesn't want to have a look.
Not only what he'll see, what he'll do.
Yeah.
Especially how it was like a blood moon before.
That's right, and it's kind of eased off a little, hasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and the Doctor's just saying, like, it's establishing this. We want to see what it takes. What's happening here is that your sanity and character are being assessed to determine what levels of cautionary alert should be placed over your file.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to see if we could accept that as a possibility.
Yeah. And then, so he just says, yeah, I think it's better you know the circumstances. And he goes, you may, if you like, terminate the interview at any time, but I can't say how that might affect the influence of my assessment. So he's really kind of trying to prod him, saying, look, if any wrong step that you take, you're going to be out, And Mark says as a smart-ass response, well, I can't get any crazier, can I? And Deptford says, if I didn't know you better, I'd judge that as an honest response. And then so he says that he'll interview some of his associates over the coming weeks. And then he asks, he wants to tonight speak to possibly Jake Lockley and Stephen Grant. And then I think it's whether it's a test or not for Mark. But Mark responds, they aren't. And Deptford goes, what? And he goes, no, they aren't real. They're just roles, aliases. So Mark's obviously trying to show him that, look, I'm not that crazy. They're just roles. So he's trying to convince, I guess, Deptford, because you'd think he wants to get registered. So,
of course, yeah. Then the next panel, which it just shows how important the moon is in this whole issue. Just see the moon. Then it's like, are you feeling rested yet? Then out of nowhere, because I always think when Mark changes personality, his body, his posture, and everything changes as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Because I think when he becomes Jake, he just speaks in a New York accent.
He does, yeah. He's a bit more gruff.
More gruff. He's more intimidating.
Yeah. And there's a little, you can see in the facial expression, there's a little bit more, there's a change in his face.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you could, especially with this art, you could tell how the way he's just looking at the Doctor, he just wants to beat the crap out of it.
He does. He's got a level, and this features into the latest Bemis run as well, where it's highlighted that Lockley is a bit of the loose cannon. So it's very much picked up here in this Houston run that Lockley is a little bit more on the violent side.
Yes, and he just starts slagging off Spectre. Poor guy.
Yeah.
How he double-crossed him, and how him and Twisted Marlene, he just locked him away for years.
Yeah. And again, this lends to more of the Bemis run. So I remember Rick first reviewing the Volume 9, the Bemis run, and being slightly taken aback by how Bemis handles Lockley. But looking back at issues like this, it's quite warranted. There are incidences of Lockley being called, the violent one or the looser cannon. So yeah, I found that quite gratifying that we do see this in the older runs.
Oh yeah.
And then as we change the page, and it's around these pages that I really, really enjoyed this issue, because we see the flick of Mark's personalities. Yeah, his identities just change.
I call this one the American Psycho personality.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I don't know why, because it looks like he's acting like Christian Bale the way he moves. Especially in that movie.
Yeah, right. I've read the book. I haven't seen the movie though. But I can imagine like a high-flying kind of yuppie, profile. But yeah, he's very different here as Stephen Grant. He's smiling. He's a bit more charismatic. His language changes as well, so he just mentions, of course, the whole thing was a wild misunderstanding. What I'd actually requested was directions. Sorry?
A wild goose chase.
A wild goose chase, yeah. Dear Jake is an able enough chauffeur, but he is entirely without a sense of humour. And it's just the facial expressions really got me, and there's something slightly unerring about seeing a character just jump between these identities.
Also, Mark, him smiling is a bit creepy.
It is. And so I can only imagine what Deptford is seeing, like seeing him jump from Mark to Jake to Stephen Grant. I think in real life it would be quite scary to see someone jump personalities like that. But so anyway, Stevens goes, well, I'm nothing if not self-aware. The way this man dresses, these clothes are a prison in and of themselves. And then so Deptford actually mentions, I wonder, Mr. Grant, have you noticed the moon this evening?
And here comes my favourite page.
Yeah.
Oh, this page gets...
So were they trigger words?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, because after that, Mark is just lying motionless.
Yes.
Like, nothing's moving. He's just out of it.
Yeah.
And the doctor's like, clearly this guy is mental.
Yeah, exactly.
He's clearly mental. He should not get this at all. Then out of nowhere, you just hear him call a little man an insect.
Yeah, exactly.
Why you task my servant insect?
Insect. Oh, God.
It reminds me of a Dolph Lundgren, especially in the Rocky movies, where he calls everybody an insect.
Oh, really? Yeah. It reminded me, actually, of Magneto in the X-Men movies.
Oh, yeah.
You were a something amongst ants or something? You were a god amongst ants or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
And then Khonshu, which is obviously speaking from us, like, why you try to stop my laws and petty grievances? What prize do you hope to win?
Yeah.
Insect, worm, thou got what waste and decay. You are talking to no one. You are not asked to talk. Only your obedience is desired and commanded by the Lord of Vengeance and the Mood. Khonshu speaks.
And it all makes it all the more disturbing by the fact that he's saying this, but his body looks like an unconscious man, so it's almost as if he's like possessed, obviously.
The way I took it when I used to read this all the time, like, imagine it if he was saying it but his mouth wasn't moving.
Oh, right. Oh, that'll be hard.
Like, then again, this is me, like, watching tons of horror movies. It would totally work in my mind.
Yeah. I could just see this scene in this room working so well in a TV or a movie.
Like a whole Netflix episode?
Yeah, just really dark, and it's really scary just to see these changes in personality of Mark. And just these two guys, I would feel scared for Dr. Deptford. You'd feel scared for him in this room, especially with this, with Mark speaking as Khonshu. But really great stuff. So anyway, the next page, which I'm sure is another one of your favourites, Rick.
Oh yes.
This is the money shot here. So Dr. Deptford starts to play along, just a bit tentatively, and Mark/Khonshu says these things which we've heard before. You see nothing, I see. I see you. Yes, I see your lonely little childhood. I see that time Mummy caught you playing with yourself. I see that feeling of superiority born out of nothing, but always having the highest test grades. I see treadmill at home covered in dust. I see bottle of hand sterilizer in your pocket. So he's actually saying stuff that we know that Mark has discussed with the profile. So he's using this to trick Dr. Deptford, but it is having a desired effect, because he goes on, and this is the other stuff that we hadn't heard of, but which the profile had told Mark. I see the killing jar at home, the endless rows of many-legged and crawling things snuffed out and pinned and displayed for your own pleasure. I see the rag and the chloroform. I see the pigeon and cat and the mice. I see you stroke their dead fur. So Dr. Deptford has got a bit of a dark side himself. He's probably crazy as well, and he could easily turn into, like, I guess, if you profile like murderers and stuff, this fascination with killing animals, gradually getting bigger, killing pigeons and cats. He's graduating to bigger kills. And then he says at the end, I see that I command obedience of such a thing as you is the only grace you shall ever know. Kneel, slave, and serve your Lord. And I think Deptford is so taken aback by all these truths that Khonshu has spoken to him. Mind you, being tricked, because the profile actually told Mark, but he does, and he kneels down in front of Mark. Or Khonshu.
Yeah, out of fear.
Out of pure fear. And what we know as Moon Knight fans is that Moon Knight gets his stuff through fear, doesn't he?
Oh, yeah. The next panel is just Mark just finally waking up, and the doctor's like, oh, yeah, here's your registration act card. Take it. You're now a hero. Please leave.
Yep, congratulations.
I pray to God it's the last time we meet. See you later.
Yep. And it leaves you with a bit of a bad taste for this guy, Dr. Deptford. Of course, he was a bit of a dick earlier on, but now you know he is totally wired the wrong way as well. So you're kind of like, oh, I'm kind of glad Mark has kind of gotten the better of him. Yeah, so as you turn the page, a nice 9-panel, equal panels. Here, as Mark goes out, we see Dr. Deptford in the room, interrogation room, head in hands. He's just shocked by the whole thing. Mark walks back out through the security system, and what was surprisingly, he just rips up the testimonial, your registration, basically, and he walks out. And he takes out the dictaphone in his pocket, and the recording is deleted as well. So, what was that there, Rick? Have I missed something here? Was he recording?
Oh yeah, the doctor was recording it all.
Oh, the doctor was recording. Sorry, I thought that was Mark.
Oh yeah, he was ripping up all the evidence of Mark being there.
Ah, right. Okay. I thought it was Mark ripping up his registration. I'm going, okay, well, what's the deal with that?
Oh,
anyway.
I thought that too. Then I realised, like, it's
yes.
the doctor doing all this, because don't forget, after this issue, the next arc is Tony finding out that Mark got the registration.
Yes. Yeah, that's true. And actually, it makes sense, because if you look at these panels, it alternates. So Mark, Doctor, Mark, Doctor, Mark, Doctor. So, yeah. The paper's being ripped and the dictaphone are the doctors. Then we see Mark at the car, and we see the doctor deleting the recording on the camcorder, and then we see the profile saying, "How did it go?"
Before we go to the next panel, I'd just like to butt in. If you notice in the panel, it's done in like a cross, and in the middle is just Mark, and everything else at the top is the doctor freaking out. The left is him tearing the papers. The right is him erasing it, and the other one is just him deleting everything.
Yes.
And Mark is straight in the middle.
Yes, yeah. It's really well laid out, I think. Really great. It tells a massive story, like, in just those few panels. Really good.
Then Mark's like, "Oh, it worked. It all worked. I had to make him believe it was like a problem and everything." So that license must be burning a hole in my pocket. Yeah. And he just simply asked, "You sure he won't hurt anyone?"
Yeah.
And what's his name? Oh my god.
Oh, the profile.
The profile, okay.
Yeah.
The profile's like, "Nah, it's just human."
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he'll just say as well that, the profile, you take it that he knows him now because he's read him, and he says, he'll be impotent his whole life, so he won't hurt anyone. Yeah, which is reassuring as a reader. Going, okay, so this Deptford, he won't be, we won't see him again, and he won't cause any trouble. But yeah, you're right. There's a really cool thing there where Mark says he's evil, and the profile says, no, he's just human. And remember, he can say that because he's a mutant as well. So,
okay.
Yeah. So then what we do, we get cut through to Mark now, back to the beginning where we saw him in costume, and we have here the gentleman in that armoured vehicle, the war criminal.
Let's call him not Kingpin.
No, a smaller Kingpin, Milovich. And anyway, he finds Mark in his car. So when Moon Knight took a dive from the rooftops, he didn't crash through. He managed to get into the car somehow.
Oh yeah, he got in all right.
He did.
And then the next panel is just the two guys sitting in the armor car, just like chilling out, and just on the radio, it's just people talking about the whole registration, how it works.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, you just see a flood happen right behind them. The guys just turn around like, what is happening over there?
Yeah.
Then the next page, they're being flung out of the front seat.
Yeah.
And a gash of blood.
Mind you, getting flung out of an armoured vehicle, which you'd think would have armoured glass, that is a pretty big amount of force to be thrown through. So...
especially being thrown from the inside.
Yeah, exactly. And little room to throw someone, you can't get a run-up or anything like that. So, questions out there whether Moon Knight is affected by the moon or something, because he's strong as hell. And anyway, so the next page we get a really cool image here. It's very horror-like as well, of Moon Knight crawling out of the windscreen. You just see the hood again and just the two white eyes, and he reaches out for Milovich like a monster from a horror movie, and things just go red as Milovich screams. So again, fear and horror.
Yeah. And the next page is just seeing Moon Knight just walking away from the armored car, which is covered in blood now.
Yeah.
And while it zooms into the car, it's just a little radio playing saying like, "Oh, license will be issued with using of great discretion. Issued only to the individuals display a similar level of discretion. Individuals who know the proper use of restraint." And unfortunately, those guys got the moon carved into their head and the registration card shoved in his mouth.
Yeah, the irony of it all, isn't it? Like, you do not want to give the registration card to Moon Knight. This is one of the classic showings of how brutal and how, I guess, just how unrelenting Moon Knight is compared to other superheroes. You would not get this with your Daredevil or your Spider-Man. Probably you'll get something like this from your Punisher Max, probably. Yeah, but there are very few superheroes that kind of go this dark, and Moon Knight's definitely one of them. As we head towards the end, we again see Rey and is that Frenchie in the Moon Cave. Again, Rey just fiddling with some stuff there.
I don't think that's Frenchie. I think that's Rob.
Is it Frenchie? Oh, is it Rob? Okay, sorry. I just saw the hat of Frenchie. Yeah, you're right. Because Rob was there before, wasn't he? So it would make sense.
Yes.
Because there was also that French there as well. Save Rey, yes. Rob's not French, is he? Or is Frenchie? I thought just Frenchie was. But anyway, it does look like Rob, so I'd say it is Rob. But yeah. So anyway, so actually then, Rey makes the quip of, not like you've never lost anything yourself, is it? And he actually alludes to Frenchie's cap, which must be alluding then to Rob and Frenchie's relationship.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And then over, I think, was it Rey saying it?
Ray?
Or it's Frenchie, yeah, it's Frenchie. Frenchie talking how he's lost stuff.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah.
You just see a shot of Mark showing up to Marlene with hands covered in blood.
Oh, yes, there you go. Yep.
They lock eyes, and Mark just takes her inside to wash her hands. While that's going on, like, you've got this brilliant, like, dialogue going on, like, I have lost some things. My legs, yes. When I was paralyzed, I was challenged to overcome. Not to be able to walk, to stand my own. Terrible, yes. But it taught me things. How better it relied on others to ask for help, to love honestly. Later, I was told I might walk again. But the surgery would require I lose a part of myself, my lower legs, my feet.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he goes on. Again, this is over the images of Mark and Marlene. There's parts, yes, that I had not used for years, but still I was in terror of losing them, as if in fear of losing the ground I had once walked on. Fear that in standing again I would lose the stability I had found. Great loss. It teaches what we love, the things lost, the new things found. And it shows Mark and Marlene in an embrace. Geez, they are a violent couple, aren't they? They seem to get, they're very attracted to each other, but they're both very violent people. And so Rey says, "Say, Frenchie, you're trying to tell me you want your old job back?" And Frenchie goes, "No,
no way." Only that there is one thing that a desire without understanding, with a panel of Marlene just digging deep into Mark's skin.
God,
very violent.
Very violent. I'm surprised she hasn't got the keys and she's not stabbing him.
Oh man, don't give it a chance. And Ray's like, "Oh, I hear that, man. I understand. This is the last time this is going to happen."
Yeah.
And Ray's like, gives him a nice bottle, crack it.
Yeah.
And Ray's like, "Hey, I want to show you something quickly."
Mm-hmm. And he shows Frenchie, the old the cab that we came in, Rick, which
Oh,
was
yeah,
the
there it is.
Lockley's cab. Yeah, so that was there just probably a few years ago, because it took us here now. Yep, and Frenchie says, yes, it is hard. It is hard for old soldiers to say goodbye to their past, to say goodbye to their armour and their weapons, and you just get a shot of basically Mark's life, which is the moon cave, with a massive amount of armoury and vehicles at his disposal.
Oh, yeah. And then the next page, it just sums this whole issue up. The trappings of the past leave gracefully the field of battle.
Yeah.
Just shows 2 panels, Frenchie and Rey leaving, destroying everything that's in that
Yes.
cave, and Marlene just like, shit, what have I done?
Yeah, yeah, and Mark, I guess, still there in bed because you can see his legs.
Oh yeah, he's probably exhausted. Let's be real.
Yeah, he's had a tough night. But that was the end of that issue, which was a fantastic issue there, Rick. A really good issue. I hope we did it justice, Loonies, because it is certainly one to read and reread if you haven't read it in a while. How are we going for Crescent Darts here, Rick? What would you give this one? Moon Knight, Volume 5, Issue 13, The Uses of Restraint.
See, I wouldn't give it a Crescent Dart, but I'll give it 5 keys to the eyes out of 10.
Wow, 5 keys to the eyes. Out of 5, right? Not out of 10.
Out of 10, yeah, out of 10.
5, only
Did I
5
say
out
10
of...
or 5?
I thought you said 5 out of 10. I was going, oh, okay, that's pretty low.
Oh, my bad. 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Yeah. That's what I thought you would. 5. Let me just type that up. 5 out of 5. Fantastic. Pretty self-explanatory, I guess, isn't it? One of your favourite books. One that you have reread, and yeah, just has a lot going for it, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, honestly, when I tell people how to get into Moon Knight, I just give them this issue because I have the physical as well.
Yep.
So I'm like, just read this issue. This sums up the character of Moon Knight in a nutshell, like how his personalities work.
Yeah, I totally agree as well. It has a bit of action in there as well, but it's not your stock standard popcorn comic issue. There's actually...
Oh no, it's more like horror.
Yeah, there's horror and there's real substance in the interaction between Dr. Deptford and Mark Spector in that room. You get to really see Mark's DID come out to play. And you get what I find an interesting character, the profile. You get him involved as well, almost like a merc for hire himself, or just a consultant for hire. So Mark just uses him and his abilities. There's some striking violence in it with Marlene and Taylor, with Mark or Moon Knight towards the end. It's got everything, and the art is I think very well suited to this story as well.
Yeah.
I actually can't imagine it if David Finch drew that. I think Coker
It
does
would be completely different.
It would be very different, wouldn't it? Yeah, it'll be a lot more action angle dynamic. Oh, well, that's what I'm assuming. I mean, let's just face it, we did actually see Ultimate X-Men where he draws very understated scenes as well. But just with Coker, with his even with Detective Flint and that criminal with the crescent moon on the forehead, it just lends itself to that, I don't know, to that noirish kind of look. And I think it was really, really well done. I would give it 5 Crescent Darts as well. It's one of my favourite issues of Volume 5 as well. So 5 A's, it's 5 keys. I would say that would be 5 crescent moons to the forehead. I think so.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah, so very fantastic. I can't laud that issue enough. I do like it, and every time I reread it, it's very cool. Available on Marvel Unlimited, available on Comixology, I believe, as well as you can pick it up in floppy or in a trade, as well as I was about to say hardcover. Which probably you can as well. I don't have a hardcover of it.
If you look really hard, you probably could.
Yeah, if you look really hard, it's they're hard to come by, but yeah, definitely worth picking up, Looney. So please do. Rick, we are almost out of time here. Yeah, I wanted to thank you so much for joining us at Gena's Diner. We're still here. Things are still bubbling along. They'll be open all night, I'm sure. But no, it's been really cool to finally have a really good chinwag with you. I know I've mentioned this also as well. I did meet you once before. You sold me a whole lot of Moon Knight as well, which was really cool, and we had a chat outside of King's Comics, which is 310 Pitt Street, Sydney, if you are in the area. A very cool comic store. But it's been really nice. Yeah, it's fantastic, and you get to bump into a lot of people with like-minded interests, and it was great to meet you then. It's great to chat with you now, just in a relaxed format. But yeah, it's anytime you're available, please pop onto the show.
Oh, for sure, man.
Fantastic. And I was about to say, if you had any, if you had anything to shout out, please feel free.
Anything to shout out?
Yeah.
I forgot to mention.
Yep.
I forgot to mention this, but I started listening to that in that Iron Fist podcast.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, fantastic, man.
Excellent. So that.
I love it. Also, I would like to shout out my mate, Andrew Clayton, from a couple of NPCs. He actually got me into Iron Fist. He lent me the Matt Fraction run.
Oh, well, that's a very good run too. I'm actually reading volume... Oh, actually, I'm reading that at the moment. Fantastic. It is a fantastic run. Glad that you like Iron Fist as well. Who was your mate, sorry?
Andrew Clayton.
Andrew Clayton. Well, shout out to Andrew Clayton. You've got good taste, my good sir. And yeah, a shout out to Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist podcast. I know Connor McKenna, the host there, will be absolutely chuffed, Rick, that you're on board listening to them. I believe they're recording one of their episodes tonight as well, so keep an eye out for that. They'll be looking at, yeah, I think they're looking at, there was a voting thing done, and they're going to be looking at reviewing all the Power Man and Iron Fist issues, so that's a big one.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, so very cool. So yeah, thank you so much, Rick. As I said, always happy to have you back on whenever you can make it, if you want to make it. And Rick can also be found on our Facebook Into the Night group there as well as the Loony Bin, which is our chat room as well. So if you're keen to drop Rick a line as well, just drop a line there. I'm sure he will respond.
Oh yeah, if you need any help with like obscure 90s characters, I'm your man.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, true. And that reminds me, Rick, I'll send you a quick message as well after the show. Just grab a list of your 90s loves, your kaiju stuff and your manga stuff, and I'll put that in the show notes. So for anyone that's interested, because I know a couple of Loonies have voiced some interest in these sorts of formats, these informal chats that we have with Loonies, and it's a good way to actually branch out and try new things. So, so we'll definitely get that information from you, Rick.
All right.
Excellent. So next phase, we are going back to our classic run and modern run. We'll be looking at Hulk Magazine Volume 1, Issue 15. And for our modern run, we are looking at the final part to the first arc by Charlie Houston, actually. It's Moon Knight Volume 5, Issue 6, so the last part of the bottom. If you want to weigh in on that, Rick, you're more than happy.
I'll weigh in now. Actually, I might as well weigh in right now.
Yeah. You love there you go. That's a shining testimonial, Loonies. So you must pick that up if you haven't read it already. If you have, reread it again and get yourselves reacquainted for next week. We'll also have Rebecca back to co-host with us, so that will be cool. She's always got great things to say, and it's always a pleasure to have Rebecca on. So looking forward to that as well. Finally, where you can find us. We have done a slight rejig of stuff to make things easier for you, so you can email us at itkmoonnight@gmail.com. We're on Twitter at itkmoonnight. Facebook is at facebook.com/itkmoonnight for the page, and if you want to join our Facebook group, it is facebook.com/groups/ That's right, ITK Moon Knight. So very easy to remember. We've also got a blog site, intothenightpodcast.wordpress.com. And also we're on Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube. Just search for Into the Night with a K, a Moon Knight podcast, and we should be there. Finally, on all podcast catchers, just search for us. We should be on the likes of Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of that stuff. So, yep, please tell your friends and keep listening if you are doing so already. All right, Rick, I think for the finale to this, I think we should probably head into the Mooncopter, and I can whisk you back home, give you a quick lift. How about that?
All right, let's go, man.
All right, let's make our way to the Mooncopter. All right, Rick, are you all strapped in?
Oh yeah.
Excellent. Okay, catch you later, Loonies. As we always say, may Khonshu watch over the denizens of the night. I'm giving Rick a lift home. Catch you later.
Laters, guys.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.